What's good? It's Woog. Drake just re-released For All the Dogs, his latest album, but he made this the Scary Hours edition. Now, you might remember Scary Hours, the phrase, as being, it was a Wu-Tang song on the Wu-Tang Forever double album, but as it pertains to Drake, Scary Hours has been like this EP series. The first edition brought us God's Plan, and then Diplomatic Immunity. Diplomatic Immunity is one of those Drake songs where he's just totally barred out, super lyrical. He just gets into that long verse, no chorus phase. And to be honest, that's probably the version of Drake that I've always liked the most and that I've found the most interesting musically, is when he really gets into his bag in terms of writing the best possible lyrics. And it's so cutting. I mean, like the disses involved, the references that he draws, the clever turns of phrase. It's vintage Drake, if you like. For instance, Say What's Real from the So Far Gone mixtape turned, it was pre Thank Me Later. But when he dropped For All the Dogs, his latest album, which, came on the heels of his duo album with 21 Savage, there were a lot of people who were expecting him to get back into his super lyrical mode. But then we heard the lead single, Slime You Out, featuring SZA. And then it, ended up being I guess it's not the case. I guess this isn't going to be like a lyrical album. I guess he's going to go back to his, kind of inertia style singing where, I don't know, it feels like whether a song of that type is like 3 minutes or 6 minutes, it almost doesn't make a difference. I almost feel like the songs start to blend into each other as I'm listening to some of these Drake albums that are heavy on those types of singing songs, especially if there's not like an unforgettable chorus. Like think about the one on like Energy from If You're Reading This Is Too Late, track 2, Energy. That's the one, Got a Lot of Enemies. Well, when I saw the statement that he released before re-releasing this For All the Dogs, Scary Hours 3, basically Scary Hours 3 EP, put out a message basically saying that he's just been immensely inspired to write to the point where it's just coming to him. He's not even having to like really think hard about it and try these lyrics, these thoughts and everything. They're just coming to him. And I'm thinking, damn, I had like a little rap crew in the early 2000s. I'm talking like 20 years ago. And during that stage of my life for a few years, I wanted to do nothing but write. I mean, everywhere I would go, I'd have, the notebooks and just writing like 2 bars at a time, 6 bars at a time. And, when you get into a zone where you just feel super inspired, there's nothing in the world like it. So when I'm reading this Drake message, I'm like, man, he sounds like somebody who's just like feeling like that euphoria where he is impressed with the bars that are coming to him. He's impressed with what he's putting down to where he wants to release this. And I was wondering, after like a lot of this Drake slander, when he dropped For All the Dogs, the album, I was wondering if he was going to come back with something after that, even though he had said he was thinking about retiring or at least stepping away for some time, giving himself a health break. But then when he started receiving a lot of the criticism about like how boring his songs are, how much he just gets into that, inertia style with, boring beats or whatever opinions were levied about his latest album, I was wondering, like, is he going to come back with that project between albums, which we have often seen? We got If You're Reading This Is Too Late in 2015 between Nothing Was the Same and Views. We got What a Time to Be Alive later on that same year in 2015. Also, I believe before Views. After Views, we got More Life in 2017. So that would be before Scorpion. And then, after that kind of dance album that Drake released before the 21 Savage collab, we got the 21 Savage collab. So Drake has been notorious for releasing those projects between projects. But I was wondering if there was going to be something to come right on the heels of For All the Dogs, almost like Drake was dissatisfied with the taste that he was leaving in the listener's mouth based on the feedback that he was getting, to where I thought that there was a part of Drake who obviously has, like a lot of pride and, prides himself on a lot of this work, his body of work that he's put forth over the years. I just felt like he was going to take I'm not going out like that type of approach. And then what did we get? We got basically the type of EP, the type of project that a lot of like the rap purists have been wanting. We haven't gotten this lyrical of Drake. I mean, I know that he's had a few super lyrical songs on all of his projects. He usually comes with at least like a couple of them. Well, here, he just kind of blacks out. And, no, it's not his greatest lyrical work, but I mean, come on. Like when you look at like the first 3 tracks off of this, extension to For All the Dogs, basically the Scary Hours 6 songs, you could say that it was an EP tacked to the end of the album. But if you look at that little collection of 6 tracks, Red Button, where he just lists all the things that he's gonna do, and he even goes into that Wu-Tang, I'll effin', the thing that Method Man used to do on the 36 Chambers album, and also I believe on his debut Tikal album in '94, where Meth would be kind of trading threats with Raekwon and or Ghostface, and they're just talking about, I'll effin', and then they'll just throw out the outlandish thing that they're gonna do, and then the other person comes back with I'll effin', and then something, and Drake even does a sniff between the I'll effin', just to kind of make clear that he was doing a nod to that, because Meth would always do the, like even in his verses sometimes, what the blood, clot, I smoke pot, but Drake does that on Red Button after levying like a bunch of threats. It results in that little Wu-Tang call out. And then, Stories About My Brother and The Shoe Fits. To me, those back-to-back songs, and I know that there's that J. Cole collaboration. They did that, first person shooter on the For All the Dogs album, but here they have a track called Evil Ways where they're just trading bars, and you could tell that one person's verse is piggybacking off of the last thing that the other said. So it feels very collaborative, which is dope, right? We had wanted those types of Drake and J. Cole moments. But I would say about the Drake and J. Cole ones, you would think that it could be greater than the sum of its parts, but I don't look at them doing their best lyrical work when they're doing that back and forth thing. They had some very good bars, but like if I compare Drake's bars on that J. Cole Evil Ways collab with what Drake did on Stories About My Brother and The Shoe Fits, these tracks, oh my goodness, the stories that he's telling, and just like the stories within the stories and the personal or societal narratives that he's driving in these verses where he's, not naming the people, or they might be fictitious or they might be real, but he's just drawing these kind of like life parallels and just talking about the psyche or the psychology that goes into people's behaviors, whether you're talking about the jealous guy or the frontin' girl who's going out to Colombia and coming back super different with everything bigger. Even her attitude is bigger, he says. But yeah, Stories About My Brother, where, that's the one where he's got the, what a lot of people are considering a Joe Budden diss. But look, I don't know who he's dissing in some of these different moments, but he is very barred out, and he's got a very cutting way, language-wise, of dissing and getting under people's skin. Stories About My Brother is like peak Drake when it comes to that approach. So between that track and The Shoe Fits, to me, that's my favorite back-to-back on this EP extension, especially because of the style of beats. Like, look, I'm a hip hop head. I love all kinds of music, but I'm a hip hop head, like especially a certain type of beat. Drake it seems like he wanted to make it a point to shut all the hip hop heads up with some truly hip hop stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to the beat on The Shoe Fits, it's almost spooky the way that loop works. It feels very vintage, but it feels a little bit melancholy. I just like that one a lot. And if you look at the production credits, Lil Yachty is credited with co-producing Red Button and The Shoe Fits. So, Drake and Lil Yachty, they've been working and Lil Yachty was living with him for a while, but they've been working together. But to see Lil Yachty on the production credits, I found to be pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Like, especially given Lil Yachty's kind of like trap era, that style of rap reputation, for him to have the production credits on tracks like Red Button and The Shoe Fits. Look, I don't know if he's on the MP or on the machines conducting those beats, but he's credited with doing so. So yeah, props to Lil Yachty and Ovrkast. Those are the two people credited with co-producing those two songs. And then Stories About My Brother is produced by Conductor Williams. You can even hear the call out Conductor on the beginning of the track. But if you listen to Conductor Williams and The Shoe Fits almost sounds like it's an updated version of Jay-Z's Girls, Girls, Girls from the Blueprint album, where he's talking about this girl from here, this girl who's like this, and that girl who's like that. Drake is basically just drawing all of these different, personal characteristics, calling people out in different ways, just kind of, analyzing them and just studying their moves and then talking about it. Like, the shoe fits is brilliant in that regard. Like, that to me, that's one of the better Drake songs in recent years. So yeah, this Scary Hours EP extension, look, the Alchemist produces Wick Man, which is a song between The Shoe Fits and Evil Ways. And then the last song is You Broke My Heart, where, it's a little bit more what we have come to get used to in some of the Drake songs. It's a little more like some of the other songs on For All the Dogs. So yeah, and Drake, again, in that message right before he dropped this EP, he said that this wasn't like leftovers from For All the Dogs. This wasn't something that he had been sitting on and just hadn't released before. He said he wrote all of this stuff after the release of For All the Dogs. So I almost look at this as being a reaction to the reaction. This is almost like, it feels like it's almost Drake reacting to the fans and, podcasters like Joe Budden reaction to his work, which I really like it because it feels personal. It feels like, he was hearing what was being said and he's like, oh, hell no. And then he just got right to work. That's what it sounds like. But yeah, this 6-song collection, I feel like this, we've been wanting this for like a while. Like, look, ideally, if I could have gotten like one project with like the following songs, and I'm just talking about these different songs from the different Drake albums or projects: Say What's Real, Fear. Those are from the different variations of So Far Gone. The long mixtape has Say What's Real. Say What's Real was also featured on the shortened EP version with like 9 songs or something. But Fear was added to that So Far Gone. And then Lord Knows from, I think that was from Take Care. Light Up from Thank Me Later. That was featuring Jay-Z. Tuscan Leather, the one that kicks off Nothing Was the Same. Pound Cake. You and the Six was from If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. The title track Views from the album Views. Diplomatic Immunity, which, just that loop with that almost like, Wu-Tang-ish sample. It almost sounds like a RZA style beat, and where Drake just blacks out. Diplomatic Immunity. Emotionless from Scorpion. Survival, which is the song that kicks off Scorpion. Nonstop. 4 p.m. in Calabasas, which wasn't even like an album track, but he's dissing Diddy in that one. That's one of the Drake's best diss songs in my view, lyrically. Duppy, where he got into dissing, Pusha T, obviously back to back, where he dissed Meek Mill. Champagne Poetry from that Certified Lover Boy. Same with 7 a.m. on Bridal Path from Certified Lover Boy. And then No Friends in the Industry. Those super lyrical Drake songs. Like, if we could have gotten a project that, I might just make that a playlist on Spotify or something, but like, that is my favorite version of Drake. The songs that I just read out, those are the ones where it's just like, look, I could keep on hitting repeat or just rewinding like 30 seconds. Like, damn, what did he just say? That type of Drake. That is what we got a lot of in this Scary Hours 3. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. It's just so fitting, so Drake to drop an album that in some ways underwhelms a certain type of Drake fan, right? A Drake fan that wants a certain something when it comes to that type of lyricism and less singing all over the songs. And look, yes, he also does have like the singles like Hotline Bling or God's Plan or, Started From the Bottom, Now We're Here, or Running Through the 6 with my whoa. I don't think anybody's gonna front on that. We get it. Like, those are, super popular songs that just do crazy numbers. So, even those types of songs I would be more cool with than a lot of the songs where he's just singing from front to back. And it's just, it feels like the song's not even really going anywhere. And the lyrics in the sung verses aren't even that damn clever. Like, that's the Drake that I'm like, it's hard for me to go back and re-listen to the album again and again and just really get into it. But what we got here in this Scary Hours 3 EP, I feel like this was a treat for the type of hip hop Drake fan that wants the lyrical stuff. So yeah, I got nothing but good things to say about this. I enjoyed it. I listened to it like that, within the hour of it dropping at 9 p.m. and I'm just like driving to it after watching a terrible Shakur Stevenson fight. And I'm just like, Yeah. This is what a lot of people wanted more of on For All the Dogs. But yeah, he delivered it. So it is what it is. You could just add this to the long list of Drake songs where, you know, he does get ultra lyrical. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this one in the comments. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love music like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.